Well, hello everybody. I'm back today with a new topic for you. So I figured the quail shed would be the perfect place to film this video because the question that I've been seeing asked a lot on the different Facebook groups and internet pages is, why aren't my quail hens laying eggs? So the answer to this question isn't super complicated, but it does come down to 4 different factors. The first factor being the age of your hens, the second factor being lighting, third being food, and the fourth being stress and environment. So let's dive in a little bit into each topic and I'll give you some details on each. Okay, so factor number 1 is going to be age. So hens will usually start laying eggs between 6 and 10 weeks old. And on the other side of things, they're usually done laying eggs by 18 months to 2 years. So their laying span is pretty short, but they do lay a lot of eggs during that time. So I have a little hen here with me, and she is probably about maybe 12 weeks old. Now, one of the way that I keep track of the age of my hens is with these little leg bands. So I have colored leg bands based on their hatch dates. So that way I will know when a hen is getting close to that 18-month to 2-year mark. And then I know that she's going to be about out of eggs, and then I can cycle her out and refresh our quail shed with some younger hens. All right. Factor 2 is lighting. Now this is a big one, and I want to say it's usually 90% of people's problems. So a lot of people will get their first quail hens in the spring or summertime, and there is plenty of daylight, and that's natural breeding season for birds. And as we head into, they're flying here. As we head into fall and winter, those daylight hours become shorter. And what that does is that actually signals your bird's reproductive systems to temporarily shut down, and they would naturally take a break over the winter. So this is fine for birds, like if you have chickens and you know they're going to be living 6, 8, 10 years, you've got plenty of time to get those eggs. The issue with quail is that they have a relatively short lifespan. So most quail keepers want to be able to get all of their eggs out of their hens before they would pass. So the way to do this is to supplement lighting. So right now it is November, and we do not have anywhere close to 16 hours of daylight each day right now. So if I did not hang any type of lighting for my quail, I would not be getting any type of eggs. So you can use simple lighting, put it on a timer. We string Christmas lights, you can see up there in our quail shed. I keep them on a simple Christmas light timer, and I put them on at dusk for a few hours, and then I have them come on before sunrise for a few hours. So your artificial lighting plus your actual sun daylight hours should equal at least 16. Now this is enough to give you maximum egg production. Personally here, I do 18 hours just to be sure. So if you're heading into that fall winter season, your hens were laying eggs and now all of a sudden they're not, chances are your issue is that they don't have enough lighting. You can simply solve that. Once you get your lighting up, give your birds about 2 weeks to adjust to the changes, and you should start having eggs then. I'm going to post a couple photos real quick of what our coops look like lit up at night, so you can see about how bright you want your lighting to be. Okay, the next factor is feed. Feeding quail is very simple. Now when they are chicks or juveniles, it is good to have them on a higher protein feed. You can use a turkey or game bird starter. If you can't find that in your area, a 22% meat bird starter works just fine in my experience also. Now, when your hens are reaching that laying age, about 6 weeks old, you're gonna want to switch them over to a regular chicken layer crumble feed. We use Kalmbach brand. They make a really nice 17% layer crumble if you can get that in your area. I will post a quick picture of that too once this video segment is done. And that layer feed is going to have the calcium in it that they need to produce eggshells. So if you're keeping your birds only on that starter or grower formula, it has a really high protein and it just doesn't have enough calcium, and that can mess with their egg laying. Another way to get extra calcium in is to provide them oyster shells, or once they do start laying, you can actually take their own eggshells, bake them on a cookie sheet at a low temperature, whatever the lowest is your oven will go. Bake them on that for about 10 minutes, crunch them up, and then you can feed those back to them. So I'll stand up here and show you. I actually have a little jar that I keep of eggshells, and I will top their feed with that a couple times per week. And the only other thing is to just make sure that they have food available 24/7. If they run out of food, it can cause them stress, and it can actually create a food aggressive behavior between the quails. So always have your food full and go with your chicken layer crumble. Okay, the last factor is stress. So quail really want to feel safe. And I have found personally that if you can give them little areas to hide or branches or things to snuggle under, that gives them a much more secure feeling. The other thing that goes along with feeling safe is predator load. So if you have a coop outside that's not in a protective garage or barn, and they're in a space that, like a raccoon or a stray cat, a bird of prey, etc., could wander up to their cage and start meddling with that cage, that right there is enough to stress them out to completely stop laying. Now, you may be convinced that you don't have a predator problem, but let me tell you, if you're sleeping at night and you're not seeing what's going on outside and your birds aren't laying, there's a good chance you have a predator snooping around that you just haven't found evidence yet of. So you can try setting a trap, or if you set up a little trail cam, you may be shocked at what you find. It could be a raccoon, a possum, coyotes, rats are a big threat to quail, so many different things. And living in town does not exempt you. The other thing is a bully bird. So sometimes you'll have that unruly quail, and it may just be one of them, and that's enough that quail could be picking on the others, causing them stress, and then they could all stop laying. The other side with the quail is your male to female ratio. So the minimum recommendation that I would give personally would be 5 females for every male. If you have less females, that male is going to excessively mate those females. They're going to lose their back feathers, their head feathers, they're going to look super ragged, and they're going to be very stressed out. So I personally like giving 7 to 8 hens to each male that we have, and I found the eggs are plenty fertilized, but there's a lot less stress because the mating is spread out between those hens more. All right, it's the end of the video, and just like that, my timer went on, and on came my Christmas lights just before sundown in about an hour or so. So like always, if you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll do my best to answer. And I hope that you can use this video to get the maximum egg production from your hens.